beat, so it's not nice.
Yeah. It's a Habib's thing, yeah? Yeah. My side girl got a 5S with the screen crack. Still hit me back right away. Better not never hesitate. Don't come around, think you're getting saved. Trying to show the dogs brighter days. Got a torch trying to light the way. Biting everybody, which is ironic, cause your next album probably won't ever see the light of day.
What's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Health and Hustle Podcast. This is episode 4. So on today's show, we got a couple great topics that me and Cory are going to get into, and another edition of the Hot Seat. So stay tuned. Again, this podcast is brought to you by Sports Mediscussion, which reminds you to heal by moving. And you guys all know my co-host, Cory Carpenter. Cory, how you doing today, man?
Todd, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
I'm ready to get this shit rolling. Coffee's about finished.
Yeah. I still got about half of mine, but so let's start off, Cory, with the hot seat. I'm excited to hear your question, man. Like last week, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think I'm ready to go.
Yeah, let's just get this part over with. This is the most stressful part. Did I ask you first last week, or did you ask me first?
I think you asked me first last week.
Okay, so let's switch it up to be nice. Okay. I'm gonna let you go first.
I appreciate the manners. All right, so Cory, for whoever follows you, you post a lot of stuff about your food prep, meal prep on Sundays, and it's something I think is really cool. So my question to you is, what do you put in your food prep? So for people who don't know what diet we're doing, how long does it take, and then what value do you get from that?
Okay, cool. So first part, what do I put into my food prep? It changes every week, and that's why you'll see that basically I don't post a food prep pick every week. A lot of people post one religiously every Sunday, which is great. A lot of mine is similar things, and I don't want to just keep posting the same picture every week. And at the same time, my food prep varies based on my week. So Sunday morning, whether you know me or not, I'm very regimented and very goal and planning oriented. So Sunday morning, I plan out my entire week, where I'm going to be at for lunch, where I'm going to be at for dinner, if I'm training a client after work, or if I'm coming home after work, if I got to eat on the run, or if I get to sit down at the table and eat. Because the majority of my meals, even if I'm at home, I'm standing at the kitchen counter eating while I'm doing something else. So it literally varies so vast that it's hard to even get into, right? But the easiest thing to describe my meal preps are, and I tell some, if people ask me what kind of diet I follow, is just I eat real food. I eat meat. I eat a fuck ton of meat because I love meat. I eat vegetables, and then I eat healthy fats. So fats are something that's, people are finally learning and they're not shunning like they used to. Without making this too long-winded, I eat real food. I do it consistently. I tell people all the time because I get a lot of compliments and a lot of questions both about my food preps, and I always say I don't do anything extra special, just like all of my other aspects of my training or my life. It's just that I do a few small, simple tasks, and I do them very consistently and very well. And then as far as the value of that, it's my food preps have come a long way. I've been doing this for like 4 years, and I've literally, if I was taking progress pics, of my food preps over the last 4 or 5 years, just the amount of time that they used to take me like 3 or 4 hours on Sunday because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, right? So I've done it enough that I've learned how to make things quicker, what shortcuts I can take, what seasonings I like or this or that, and I've got it down to where I can do a basic food prep, a full prep, all meals, 5 days, in under 2 hours, which might sound like a lot on Sunday morning, but most people are laying on the couch with their hand down the pants on Sunday morning, right? So 2 hours Sunday morning, and I don't have to think about it. Literally, I could get my meals out of my fridge with my eyes closed for the rest of the week, so it's well worth it to me.
That's awesome. So one spin-off question for you. Does it take longer for you to meal prep, or does it take longer for you to orient your food for the cool picture?
Ah, dude. You had to go there. That's funny. So one of my dudes hit me up on IG the other day, and it was like something about like not on Core Carp's level, but I'm still ready to go this week. And I told him, I'm like, dude, my meal preps, they're not that nice. It's just I have really nice ass containers, right? So yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of time to get that all set up. But I like to do it. And when I set it up, people don't realize it unless I actually type it out in the caption. But when I set up my food preps, I have them set in order to where you can tell what I'm eating each meal each day if you like actually want to look at it or figure it out. So it's not like I just throw the shit on the table. I try to do it so I can use it as a teaching tool because I get questions at least every week about them or about what I'm prepping or why I'm eating this or why I'm eating that. And if I have it like functionally, oriented on a picture, it's a lot easier to use and explain. So that's why I do it. That and then it pleases my OCD-ness too. So.
Yeah, it's very, very aesthetically pleasing. So
cool, man. Well, that was a good question. I enjoyed that because actually that's kind of the stuff I love to talk about. So thanks for not killing me.
Yeah, man. Hey, we'll have to go. We will have to talk about our actual diets here soon about anabolic fasting too.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Like I said, I try to talk about it as much as I can with people without like giving away the golden egg. So it's tricky, but yeah, we get into that.
That's true.
So here, let me ask you a question. And I literally thought of this question this morning because I was pissed off and in a bad mood all day, and all the guys were giving me shit because I'm walking around the gym. I'm pissed off because the fucking music on the radio sounds like every single song is a slow jam, like someone's about to grab me and make out with me, right? I don't know if it was Drake. I don't know who the hell it was. Everyone gives me shit. I don't know anything about rap music. All I know is that Tupac was the man. So what kind of music have you listened to, and has your music changed? Obviously, we're well known for listening to some hardcore kind of old school gangster rap at the gym, right? Have you always listened to rap music? Has it progressed over time? Was it, or are you someone like me that like literally grew up on hillbilly country music and now all of a sudden, you've changed? Like, just give me a little bit of a backstory on your kind of music, like what you like or what kind of rappers or artists you like.
Okay, so. For you guys who don't know, I'm from Northeast Ohio. I'm a suburb like 10 minutes outside of Akron. So if you guys know anything about the Akron area, it's kind of, I don't know what the correct the way to describe it is, but I guess rap's pretty big there. So I've always listened to rap. I didn't listen to like Biggie or Tupac or anything when I was younger. I mean, it was just kind of whatever the mainstream stuff was. So I mean, like Rick Ross, like Fat Joe back in the day, like some of the one-hit wonders. But I mean, really, what was ever on the radio, like D4L and like Laffy Taffy was like my favorite song in middle school. But like getting into high school and stuff, I kind of stayed along that same trend. I actually got into like 70s, 80s, and 90s rock for a while. I loved Guitar Hero when I was in 8th grade. I could play the expert songs pretty well, so I always like to do that on the PlayStation. But I used to love AC/DC, Van Halen, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, that type of stuff. So like real old school stuff. I love Journey too. But then like at high school and then freshman year of college and undergrad, I got into country for the first time. I worked as a custodial helper my first summer job going into freshman year. And it was like in a city like 10 minutes away from where I live, and it really, really, really redneck there. And I used to hate country. I would like, oh, the songs sound the same, like just kind of the main stereotypes you hear. But it was literally the only thing on the radio all day because they just put it on the loudspeaker and they had the local country station playing literally from 7 to 3. So I was like, basically, if I don't learn to like this, I'm going to be miserable for 8 hours a day. So. I end up actually I love it now. I listen to it a lot, especially now that it's getting warmer outside. Got the windows down a little bit. Listen to some Luke Bryan.
I heard you listening to something the other day.
Yeah. I like Florida Georgia Line a lot. Luke Bryan. I've seen his concerts a few times on the spring break trips in Panama, which I don't want to talk about. But but no, now I listen to a little bit of everything. So I'm a huge Drake fan. I know we might not see eye to eye there. But Drake's probably my favorite. Like I don't think he's a rapper, but kind of R&B, hip hop type guy. But I love Biggie, Tupac, Nas, Dr. Dre, Eminem. So those are my big, like, I guess, rap guys now. So I've kind of been all over the place. I don't know if that was what you're looking for or not, but I kind of love it.
Cool.
I kind of love it all. So
And no, that's good. Like I said, I don't know anything about them, and I know everyone gives me shit because every time a song comes on, I just think it's Future. So I have no idea who the hell's ever playing on the radio. I don't even understand the lyrics, but
Yeah.
I know some of it's good, some of it's hype, and it keeps the vibe going. But then sometimes it's a little bit too slow.
Yeah, some of it's not all gym music. I mean, I was joking with Zach McNeely the other day. Drake's new album, 1 second has me like hype, ready to try to squat like 500 pounds, and then the next song's got me all in my feels, ready to propose to Emily.
You're gonna have to edit that part out. She's gonna be buying you all the albums.
Yeah, she's gonna have it playing on the phone with me every night. No, but
cool,
yeah, it's good stuff. So.
Sweet. All right, let's get down to business then. I think.
Okay. Real quick before we do that, though, I know we briefly touched us off air. Real quick, just give them a rundown of maybe one thing you got going on right now that you're getting ready for, that you may be getting lined up down the road, or you kind of maybe your plans for the summer. Give them one thing real quick.
Yeah, cool. Two things, because I'm an overachiever. One, the first being picked up a couple new clients. Most of my personal training clients have been actually in-home. Which has been awesome because it's made me become so creative in training and do things that I didn't even realize was capable of, which has been awesome. But I picked up a couple clients I'm going to be training in the gym, which I think is a big step because once you get that first 1 or 2 clients, people actually see that you're doing it. They didn't, maybe they didn't even know it before. So hopefully, that'll kind of lead into something bigger there and picking up more clients that way. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to actually start next week. And then the other thing, I'm actually leaving here in like a day or two. I'm going to Vegas for the first time. I'm going for my buddy's bachelor party. It's gonna be a blast. We're going out Thursday morning. We land down in Vegas at like 7:30, 8 o'clock Thursday morning. Everyone's hyped. They're talking about getting drinks on the plane at 6 a.m. and everything. Well, dude, I'm honestly most excited. When I get off the plane Thursday morning, I'm literally leaving the airport and I'm going straight to Average Bros Gym. So people don't know, Average Bros Gym is in Las Vegas. It's right on the Strip. It's a super small training facility, world-class athletes. John Bros is actually the guy that kind of brought Squat Every Day to America from, I don't want to say this wrong, but like the Soviets or somewhere over there, right? He's got a killer backstory. You should look him up if you've never heard of him on Google. His name is John Bros, B-R-O-Z. But yeah, I'm going to go train with him Thursday morning at that gym. It's been a major bucket list gym of mine for like 3 years, basically ever since I started Squat Every Day. So hopefully when I come back next week, I'll have some cool pointers and tips for all the guys in the crew, and then maybe some cool stories. Cool stories from the gym. I think everything else that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
That's what they say, yeah. Cool, man. That's awesome.
How about you? You got anything new lined up? Any new events you're getting registered for, or what?
Yeah, well, I'm probably gonna do a push-pull meet next month at Old School. But that's more for the experience rather than anything. But the big one I got coming up in August is I'm doing, and I think I talked about this in the first show, the OPBA competition, which is a few of our buddies at Old School have founded this new federation. It's a dual powerlifting meet and bodybuilding show in the same weekend, back-to-back days. So I was talking a little bit to some people trying to get my training in line and dial everything in as far as how I'm going to start. I'm starting the real cut in May to give myself a full 3 months to prepare for it. But I got a countdown on my phone now, 137 days out from it. So I want to start getting my lunges in, my diet right, to see how my body reacts and kind of go from there. Because I've never done a show before, so I really want to give myself enough time to figure out how my body reacts to everything. So yeah, that's my big one coming up. And then other than that, stuff I've talked about in past shows, so I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, that's great, dude. I think I'm really excited for that competition. I'm not going to be competing in that one, but this is awesome. And diving into your first show, not only having to worry about getting on stage for the first time ever, but then having to follow that up with a pretty stellar powerlifting performance the next day, like it's literally going from 0 to 100 real quick. So I think that's awesome, and the fact that you have a countdown now is going to be epic because it's going to dial all your shit in. Anything that was ever lacking over the last few months is going to get dialed in without question, without even thinking about it. And then from a business perspective, that content that you'll be able to provide through your journey is going to be huge. So, I mean, I'm pumped for you. I'm pumped. I know there's a lot of guys that are going to be doing it. And I'm going to be excited to watch it and kind of just chill out and not have to stress about it.
Yeah, man, it's going to be cool. Throwing myself into the fire, like I said, because I've only done one powerlifting meet. We did back in December, but might as well go big or go home, right?
Yep. All in, speedos and all.
Yeah, I need to get used to that. I'm a little worried about that, but
Might as well just start wearing it to the gym.
No chance. Oh, shoot. All right. So, yeah, Cory, we got some good topics coming up today, so let's kind of dive right into it. So the first thing we want to talk about, guys, is dealing with complacency. So, we'll talk about our experiences with it. Now, I think Cory's got some good examples. I've got a big one. And then maybe how to identify it, how you deal with it, and then how you move forward from there. So, I don't know, Cory, you want to go first with this one, or I can if you want?
Let's go ahead and lead it off with what's your personal, or what kind of definition would you, if you were to describe, put the word complacency into your own definition, what would you have for me?
I would say, and I haven't looked this up or anything, but I would say my definition of complacency would be being satisfied with your current status, whatever, if that's job, body image, whatever it may be, being satisfied with where you are, and then not having any aspirations to go farther with it. That's probably my definition.
Yeah, and that's pretty much standard. That's what people use for everything, right? Whether the biggest thing we hear the complacency in, at least for me, I know the first thing that comes to mind is relationships, right? You get the relationship, you do the work, you get the girl, and then you get lazy, right? You stop making an effort, blah blah blah. That transpires. Same thing with your job. You get your job, you get your paycheck, and then you start every 2 weeks you get your paycheck. Well, then by Monday your paycheck's gone, right? And then you're just trying to survive till your next paycheck. I actually looked up the definition of complacency in Webster's because I was curious, because I had the same definition you did, and it pretty much said that spot on word for word. The second part of the definition, though, was something I never thought of or heard of before, and it actually said unaware of some potential danger or defect. And that's when I was like, oh shit, okay, I get it now. It's one thing to be happy or self-satisfied or content with where you're at in life, not looking for challenges or not challenging yourself to do better. But the problem is that people don't realize the danger in that. If you're not, like we said, if you're not continually growing, challenging yourself, or making changes in your life, there is a danger to that, whether you believe it or not. And I think that's kind of like a few examples maybe we'll touch on today and see where it takes us.
Yeah, I mean, wherever you're at, and I think we'll both touch on it, because wherever you're at, there's always 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who want to be where you're at, right? I mean, it's never, I always hear the quote, I heard it a million times in college. I always heard if you're not getting better, or sorry, if you're either getting the same or getting the same, I can't talk right now, not enough coffee. If you're not staying this, or if you're not getting better.
Holy shit, Carl, you got it.
If you're not getting better, you're staying the same, and I think that is I think it's partially true, but I also think if you're not getting better, you're getting worse, because even if you're staying the same, other people are trying to get in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we talked about that a while back, right? Life being binary, you're either getting better or worse, because you may think you're in the same spot and you're not changing or not, you're not progressing or going backwards. But if someone's on your ass and they're chasing you and you're staying the same and they're coming at you, that's just this, that's just the same as you moving backwards. So I mean, I totally agree.
Cool. Yeah, it was easier for you to say than me.
I'm not keeping score.
Cool, man. Well, I can kick us off with it. So I'm gonna start with a little story. So going back to my high school days, the biggest thing I had with complacency was my freshman year in high school. I'm a pure soccer player. That's kind of been my main thing ever since I was born. I've kind of played since I was 4. But I also had a really good passion for basketball. And I played all through middle school and grade school at a Catholic school in the CYO league. So, I mean, it wasn't as intense like traveling or anything. But I could shoot it decently. And I played decent defense. It wasn't anything crazy. But so freshman year in high school, it was my first year at a public school, so I meeting a ton of new dudes, playing against people I never played against before. The competition level was much higher. but I ended up earning a starting spot on the freshman team. And our basketball program is pretty historic in Ohio. We've always been pretty good. Starting spot, I started all year. We ended up winning the championship. And I'm just kind of giving you guys backstory on this, and so it might be a little long-winded, but so we won the championship. I started all year. I was pretty excited. And then we got called up, a few of us, to JV the last few weeks of their season to practice with them, which is awesome. So I'm in the off season, I get around, and I'm like, man, like that, that was a cool ride. Like I'm excited to play JV next year, and I'll kind of just ride this out and play varsity my junior year, hopefully start, and then kind of be a leader my senior year, because that's just how I thought it went. By going to games, and I was a little kid. So the next year comes around, and tryouts are coming, and I do decent at tryouts, but I didn't do almost anything in the off season for basketball. I went to our team camp, which is mandatory, like everybody else did, and the open gyms that everybody else did. Like I didn't do anything extra because a lot of time I was focused on soccer, but at the same time I thought, I don't need to get any better because I'll just start JV next year and then move up from there. I didn't think it was it didn't even cross my mind that I wouldn't be a starter. And which is kind of bizarre to think to me now because I wasn't really that good. But so the season starts and everything, and I don't start, and I was pretty bummed about it. And I was still like six guy off the bench, and I got some good minutes. But I never started throughout the season, so I was really bummed about that. And then my minutes gradually decreased as the season went on because I still had that mindset. I had the mindset of being complacent as far as I thought I should be starting, and I was good enough, and I didn't put any extra work in to do that. And at the same time, I started feeling self-pity for myself, and I was just feeling bad for myself. I was like, oh, woe is me, the world's against me. So I had that on top of it. So my attitude was just awful, and it just kept getting worse. So by the end of the season, we had a really good year that year. Our varsity went to the regional final, one game away from state. So it was a great year, but as far as all the JV stuff, it was terrible. So now getting in my junior year, I know this is a little bit long-winded, but I'm trying to give backstory on it. So my junior year, I was like, man, like I'm so pumped. Like everything that happened my sophomore year went out the window. So in my head, I was like, yeah, like I can't wait to play varsity this year. Like it's going to be awesome. Like our first scrimmage was against St. Mary, where LeBron went, because they were really close to our high school. So they pumped about that. And then so we get to there, I played like the garbage minutes. Like I was playing like the last 2 minutes every quarter, and then like the 10-minute garbage time quarters that they gave at the end. And I was like, man, like why? Like what is going on? Like this is a complete not what I thought was going to happen at all. And again, I did nothing in the off season. So we go through the season. All my buddies are, a couple of them are starting, a couple of them are getting good minutes, and I'm just literally sitting there on the bench. And the worst part is, my brother, who was a freshman, was a starter for every single game of the year. So he's two years younger than me, and it was just like literally from that first game where I saw that happening, I was like demoralized, man. I thought I was depressed at the time. I don't think I actually was, and I don't use that term lightly because I was really upset about everything going on. But then I went into this tailspin of feeling so sorry for myself and being so mad at everything. Like I wanted to quit, and I never understood because I didn't have the perspective and the self-awareness that I just wasn't good enough because I thought that I just was entitled to it. So I was going through this tailspin, and I basically looked at myself one day in the mirror. I was like, man, like if I don't pick it up right now, I'm either A, I'm never going to play, which is not the important part. B, I'm just going to be miserable for the entire because like the winter season is super long. It's like from October to like March. So I was like, I'm going to be miserable for the next 5 months. So I kind of used that anger and that aggression to basically try to beat up on the varsity team in practice every day. But I found that kind of chip on my shoulder to where, like, they don't think I'm good enough, so I'm going to prove that I'm good enough. So I started doing that every day in practice, and my goal in practice literally was to beat the varsity team. And I actually ended up becoming a good player for that. But I'd fallen off so far because I was complacent for so long that I didn't get any minutes of that year at all. Like I got some garbage time minutes, but really nothing meaningful. So then senior year, I know this is long, but senior year, again, I thought the same thing. I was like, well, I got to get minutes this year, right? I'm a senior. Well, that didn't happen. Same thing happened. So I was sitting on the bench. I should have had my chair with my name on it because that was my seat. I was in the same spot every Tuesday night and Friday night. But I was still, at the same time, I was still putting in the work every day where I was actually, like, I looked forward to coming to practice and beating the varsity team. But again, I was so complacent for so long that I still wasn't there. And what I guess what I'm trying to portray to the listeners is complacency can be, I think there's a timestamp to it as well. So, like, I mean, being complacent in the first place is bad, but if you don't identify it and have that self-awareness up front, or if you don't find it quick enough, I mean, it can really, really affect you down the road. I mean, even if you find it, if you've fallen off at some point, it's going to take that much longer to get back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of, I think that kind of encompasses it for me, at least, because that was one of the biggest experiences of my life as far as kind of developing my current mindset. I didn't really realize it then, because I came up from practice every day, and my parents were like, "Oh, you're building character," and I always used to laugh at them and kind of, like, cuss under my breath, like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, what does that mean? But it's really true. I mean, like you said with the one thing you said at the beginning, there's always people gunning for you. And I never understood that early on, being naive as a 14, 15-year-old. And I think that's got kind of the mindset you got to have throughout, is that always, if you don't want to work, then somebody else is willing to put in that work behind you to get in front of you. You know what I mean? I just never really understood that. So I think that's my main example. I will say, just to finish off the story and get some of my ego back, I did end up starting the last couple of games of the season my senior year in the playoffs. We actually made a nice little run, and I won the MVP trophy for the varsity team.
Oh, dude, that's sweet.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. I mean, I'm not just saying that to brag or anything, because I ended up being, from that year and a half of work I put on being a practice player. You know what I mean? But I really developed a lot of respect from my teammates and the coaches for all that stuff I did after I stopped feeling sorry for myself and kind of woke up.
Mm-hmm. No, that was good. I think there are some major takeaways there, because, like you said, being complacent is one thing, but the longer and the longer and the longer you are complacent, the deeper of a hole you dig yourself into, okay? So, that's not saying it's okay to give up and say, hey, I'm too deep to get out. You can't give up. You have to fight to get out of that hole, and in the long spectrum of life, it might take you 7, 8, 9, 10 years to get out of that hole, right? That's okay. You have to start today. The problem with high school sports is that your high school sport career is only 4 years. And if you dick around for 2.5 years digging yourself into this complacency hole, if that's what you want to call it, that only gives you 1.5 years to get your ass out. Mm-hmm. And you did. You got out. You didn't stop. It took you a long time, but you figured out the issue. You fixed it. You attacked it. You didn't stop. And then by the time the season was over, you got your time in the playoffs and you won the damn MVP. That's awesome. That's cool, dude. I like that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Mine's going to be a little bit almost on the opposite end then, right? So you kind of talked about not recognizing the problem and not recognizing the solution, right, and falling into this hole of complacency. I'm going to almost tell you about 2 instances where I didn't realize it at the time until I stepped back and reflected on it, that I recognized complacency super fast and made a change before it was able to affect me. And this is, I didn't realize this, like I said, I didn't realize this initially, but this kind of ties into that part of unaware of a potential danger. And I touched on this maybe an episode or 2 ago about how I was, I had every intention and every year of my life planned out of high school, right? I was going to live at home, build a house across the street from my parents, work this job for the next 30 years, and then retire. Well, then my brother went to, and here it is. I haven't even lived my life yet, right? And I'm completely complacent with my life. I'm going to work Monday through Friday, 7 to 4. Friday night, I'm going to go out. I'm going to get a burger and a beer. I'm going to hang out, watch the game. I'm going to just chill all weekend, ride some 4-wheelers. Monday morning, I'm going back to work. I literally was already complacent in my entire adult life, and I hadn't even started it yet, right? My brother goes to the coal mine. A light bulb clicks. I'm like, fuck, I got to go, right? I recognize that danger. Obviously, coal mining is a very dangerous job, but I mean this as a metaphor. Yeah. I recognize that danger of what would happen if I get into that rut of just literally living and working to make that paycheck and then go out on Friday night. Like, I recognize that, and next thing I know, within 4 months of recognizing it, I moved to Columbus, and I go to school at the Ohio State University Medical Center, which has got to be, one of the top. I don't know statistics, but it's got to be up there at the top as far as places to learn. So that was like an example of me recognizing complacency and making a change that spearheaded me into my medical career. The next thing I want to talk about is the actual recognizing a complacency and making a change that's actually going to get me out of my career. So I've told you I love what I do. I like MRIs. I like the medical field. It's ever evolving and changing. I get to make a very big impact on individuals from a patient care standpoint, and I love the interaction I get with them. But at the same time, I recognized, here I am again, I got complacent in my job. I made a few steps up the tier in the ladder in my profession. I went from X-ray, MRI, CAT scan. I've made these jumps, right? Well, what's next? So I don't have any intentions of being into any type of management role in a medical facility. So what am I going to do? I'm going to work the job I'm at right now for the next 30 years. That's okay. But now where's the complacency? Where's the danger come in, right? So where does that danger come into this scenario? I've got a good job. I make a good living. I make a decent paycheck. I've got a good girl. I'm getting married. I've got all these things going for me, right? And it looks awesome from the outside, and it is. So what's the danger? Well, the danger is regret. Okay? I refuse, and I've said this before, I refuse to be 80 years old laying on my deathbed looking back saying, why in the fuck didn't I spend that time doing what I wanted to do, right? So for me, the danger right now is regret. I've talked about I'm making this transition from the hospital to fitness and being a personal trainer. Don't get me wrong, personal training. I love personal training. It's fun. It is a step in that direction. But I'm not going to put a ceiling on my fitness career by saying I'm going to be a personal trainer for the next 30 years. That is going to be ever evolving also. But one thing I do know, because I've surrounded myself with the right individuals, is the fitness industry has no ceiling. And I'm not going to put a ceiling on it. So I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm a personal trainer right now, I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. No, that is a step in the direction of me living my dreams. And that is a step in the direction of me one day being on my deathbed with no regrets.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. But yeah, because I don't think a lot of people they just don't know that danger. Like, I mean, from your definition, it may not even be an external source of danger. It could be internal of you having that regret. It may not be somebody gunning for your job or somebody, and whatever field you're in, not somebody coming for your job or your boss firing you or something like that. It could be literally you regretting the opportunities that you didn't take. And that'll eat you up more than anything because you have to live with that every day of your life.
Yeah, and like you said, it absolutely doesn't have to be a direct, exact physical danger. It could be mental, whatever it may be, and it's not something that all the time, right? So I've said before how I used to sit back and watch YouTube videos and look at Instagram pictures of how cool would it be if I could do that as a career. I love lifting weights, and I'm seeing these people lifting weights, and yeah, they're not getting paid directly from lifting weights, but that is a byproduct of it. How cool would that be? I wish I could do that. I didn't know I could do that until I surrounded myself with the right people that showed me it's possible. Everything is impossible until somebody does it, right? Somebody, it's impossible to squat 1,000 pounds. One person does it. Next thing you know, 10, 12, a bunch of people do it. Same thing with, running a certain time in a 40-yard dash, whatever it is. It's only impossible until somebody does it. And then when somebody does it, other people realize that they can do it too. And that's what it was for me. Once I learned that I could do that too, there was no turning back and there was no question I had to chase it. And I think actually, dude, maybe we could talk about a little bit probably, about surrounding yourselves and investing in yourself once you find that direction or that path you want to go. Is there something or some investments or changes you need to make in yourself to make that come to life?
I definitely think once you make that step, you've identified complacency and you've dealt with it, and now you're kind of moving in the right direction that you want to. You've got to make not necessarily sacrifices. I mean, some people may look at them as sacrifices, but other people, and I like the term because it is what it is investing in yourself, investing in your future. investing in your family, your future family. You know what I mean? So I think that can kind of come in a lot of regards as far as the two big ones that I want to talk about are time and money. And I don't know if I know there's more than that. I don't know, Corey, if you've got more than that. But I think time and monetary stuff is the big one because, I mean, that's a big limiting factor for a lot of people is they don't have the money to do what they want to do or they don't think they have the money to do what they want to do. And then time, that really just comes to being able to make enough time for what you want to do, but maybe being smarter with the time that you have. So I don't know, do you have any more than that?
No, yeah. So obviously, money and monetary values are going to be the number one easiest thing to come to mind when you're talking about investments and investing in yourselves or investing in others. That's a no-brainer, right? And then the other thing is time. I always tell people time is literally my most valuable thing, and I think a lot of people that are busy and a lot of people that are out there hustling and trying to make things happen will agree. Time is the most valuable thing. People say, I wish I had more hours in a day, or there's only 24 hours in a day. Well, it's one thing to say that when you're sleeping 10 or 12 hours a day and you're watching TV, but if it's someone like you and you're fucking waking up at 2 a.m. and going to bed at 11 p.m. and you say, man, I don't have enough hours in the day, time is not valuable to anyone more than it is to you, because that's the truth. I've been on a 17-hour grind and just been like, hey, how's your day? I'm like, fuck, I need more time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a whole nother topic we could get into another day, is living within your 24 hours, but there's nothing more valuable in time. The only other thing I think I would touch on in terms of investments and investing in yourselves, and the subject we're talking about today is self-knowledge and growth. I think it's something that doesn't get talked about at all, or very little, and that's really what changed my mindset and my shift in life, is when I made investments into my own mental health, right? So I have a little bit of here and there touch and go with anxiety, but I'm not going to say I don't have any mental health issues, but I was just in that complacency, average, day-to-day mindset. And then once I started investing and rewiring, I literally rewired my brain in 365 days to where I was going this way, right? And then I took a detour down this road and I'm going a completely different path in life. And I attribute that 100% to my self-knowledge that I've obtained over the last couple of years.
Yeah, dude, that's good. I think like we said, time and money are the huge ones. Dude, when I hear people say that they don't have enough time in the day, it kind of makes me mad. I mean, I'm a pretty level-headed guy. I have a really bad temper that I've learned to control pretty well because I was threatened with anger management classes a lot when I was younger. But when I hear people say that, dude, I'm like, try sleeping 3 hours a day and see how much shit you can get done. Exactly. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I don't, obviously, if people older than me say that, I obviously show a lot of respect for them. And I get some people are obviously really busy, and you may not know about it, or they just maybe not vocalize what they do. But I know my mom listens to this. I think my dad does too. Now I'll use her as an example, and I apologize to her the last one because I wasn't trying to dog on her for playing Candy Crush, but I love you, Mom, if you're listening. But so she always used to say when I was trying to get her to start working out and stuff, there's not enough time. I get home, I'm exhausted and stuff, and I'm like, Mom, you got to make time. And I would talk to coaches or just older individuals who would ask me if I'm still working out and stuff, and you always hear I used to be into it a ton. I used to be jacked, and now I just kind of get out of it. I don't got the time for it. And they're like, you'll understand one day. And I'm like, no, I won't. I will not understand. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of one thing. I think I got off on a tangent there, but that kind of fired me up a little bit talking about that.
Well, that's the number one thing. And any person that takes their fitness extremely seriously, and anyone that's in the fitness and realm of things from a career job worker standpoint, they've heard the time excuse literally from everybody. And so that's just one of those things that you hear all the time, and you're just like, yeah, it's bullshit. You're just blowing it over, right? So.
Yeah, I think, and I want to put a disclaimer on this too, because the high school kids where I work at the high school, they ask me all the time about my sleep habits and stuff, and the disclaimer I want to put on is it's not, I don't want to say an unhealthy lifestyle, but it's not an ideal lifestyle.
It's not ideal. Yeah, I tell people a lot. I don't recommend.
Yeah, I don't.
Things, yeah.
I don't tell people, I don't tell, like, if somebody asks me for advice on life or fitness, I'm like, I don't tell them, like, hey, sleep for 3 hours, get a lot of stuff done, fast for 15 hours. Like, I don't tell them that. Even though that's what I do, it's not for everybody, you know what I mean? But when I started changing my mindset, from when I was just, when I wanted to be an athletic trainer for the rest of my life to where I'm at now, I mean, time was the biggest thing I had to change, because, I mean, I already had classes. I already had, 6-7 hours at the high school every night, plus a 2-hour commute from there back to Athens. And I was like, once I realized what I wanted to do and what it was going to take, I knew something had to give. And obviously I knew I wanted to train old school too, so that kind of made it easy for me. But, I mean, that's the thing I sacrifice is sleep. And I do look at that as an investment, because I know that's what I need to do for myself. And it's like the drive time is the biggest thing for me as far as time, just because I know it's got to happen. But then I take advantage of that time and use self-development during that. So whether it's an audiobook, a podcast, and sometimes I use it for my own mental health. I just listen to music to try, maybe if I need to de-stress after a long day at work, or just after a long day in general. Like, it's whatever I feel on that day. Like, I'm not I won't sit here and say I listen to audiobooks and podcasts because I'm on the road for 4.5 hours every day. I don't listen to audiobooks and podcasts for 4.5 hours every single day. I think I go crazy. Even though I love what I listen to, I gotta have sometimes I just need to de-stress and listen to some Drake. So, but yeah, I think time's the big one for me. And then I should say it's probably my number 2. Money's the big one. So, and I got some good examples for this too. So, I know I always go back to talking about, like, I started coming to old school the first week of August. And before that, I was just pretty much living, a normal life. I wasn't unhappy, but I mean, it was just, I wasn't getting the most out of my 24 hours. So, like Christmas before, last Christmas, then, not this past one, but in 2015, Christmas 2015, I bought an Xbox, and I was like, man, like, I'm going to play so much FIFA. I might even buy Madden again. I haven't had that in a few years. Like, I'm going to have Netflix on it. It's going to be awesome. Like, I'll put it in my living room, at the apartment. I'll be able to watch so much shows. And so I start going to the gym at old school in August. And literally, I mean, this sounds crazy. Like I said, I'm driving 4.5 hours every day. And one trip to old school, so not even a round trip, but just from Athens to old school, is a quarter tank of gas. So by the time I drive to old school, lift, come back, because like I said, it's an investment. That was a bad term. I've spent a half tank of gas on one trip to the gym. So I've spent, a half tank of gas before at 7:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? And I by that time, I learned very quickly that a couple things had to give. So me investing myself in that regard, obviously the money is huge. I mean, I'm spending, like, right now gas prices are up, so I'm spending, $120 to $140 in gas every week. And I mean, my parents are probably gonna kill me when they hear this, but I mean, I've spent so much money in that regard, between that and then still driving to work 2 hours every day as well, that I don't go out anymore, so I'm saving money there. I sold my Xbox like 6 months after I got it, because I needed the money, to be quite frank. I'm training some clients now, weight loss, wellness, and strength and conditioning, so I'm making money there. Because I honestly, I didn't want to make people pay that early. Like, I was going to still do it for free for a little while longer, but I had to do it. And the big one, and this one is this seems pretty crazy, because I was even a little bit hesitant to do it, but I knew I had to do it or else I couldn't go to the gym anymore. My freshman year at Marietta, I was fortunate enough that I'd saved up enough money that I started 2 mutual funds, and they were both through Vanguard. And the ones that I did, you had to put $3,000 in minimum. So I started up 2 of them, and I mean, they've done very well. I've had them for 4, 5, 6 years now, and but I had to take money out of those, and I said I wasn't going to take money out of those for 20, 30, 40 years, so they could accumulate the money. But I was like, my hands were kind of tied, so I literally took a few $1,000s out of my mutual funds, literally, so I could drive to old school and drive to work and do all that stuff because I knew that, I mean, that's how much that stuff means to me that I had to do it because I see it as a pure investment in myself because if I didn't have that stuff, I wouldn't be me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So your mental growth is at such a level that most people aren't going to recognize, and they're not going to see that vision for the future that you see. So you're able to visualize the success you will have in the future based off of the sacrifices and investment right now we're speaking of as gas money. Right now, you're spending an astronomical amount of money on gas, as am I, but you know that that's going to come back to you tenfold later in future businesses because of what you're learning right now, right?
Yes.
So people aren't going to grasp that unless they're able to see, you know, they're not able to visualize your future like you are. It's your future, right? It's your goal. It's your life. It's not for them to understand. So you can kind of explain it, but it's hard to explain until someone has that vision of their own. So whenever I joined Old School Gym, it was a similar instance. I had a training partner. We trained at Power Shack. It was 2 minutes away. We trained at 5 a.m. We woke up at 4:30. It wasn't bad. I filled up my gas tank every payday. So once every 2 weeks, I filled up my gas tank. That's it. It was nice. All right. It's literally on my way to work. All right. So I got a 15-minute drive to work. A couple minutes down the road to the gym. Sweet setup. I called my buddy one day. I said, yo, Monday morning, we're going to Old School Gym every day. He goes, what? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, what time do you have to leave to go to Old School Gym every day and be back on the west side for work? I said, we will be leaving at 3 a.m. And he said, so you want to leave at 3 a.m., drive 45 minutes one way in the middle of the fucking night, and pay that much gas money just to work out? He said, no thanks, bro, I'm out. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to say this one time, and I want you to think about it before you tell me you're out. How much is this going to pay off in the future, the investment we're making right now? And he said, you know what, you're right, I'm stupid, I get it, let's go. He joined for a couple months and went with us for a couple months, and then he ended up tearing off, and you know, he kind of went his own way, which is totally fine. But I can say that within the year of doing this, I went from buying gas every 2 weeks to now I fill up my gas tank every 4 days. Which, I mean, I don't know, it's not bad, it's whatever. I don't think about it because gas is gas. You know, you can't control the price, and you got to buy it. So there's no use fucking worrying about it. You know, you just do it, right?
Yep.
But the amount of money I've spent in gas over the last year or two, it's nothing in comparison to what's going to come back to me down the road and in the future. And I can say that with 100% confidence.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, I think a lot of people, as we talk, because we're kind of harping on the money, because it's a real thing. I mean, people depend on money to live, you know what I mean? So if people are kind of thinking about like, well, I mean, I just don't have enough money right now, or they may just not think they have enough money right now. My biggest thing is you've got to be able to spend, and I'm not using just money right now as an example, just anything. You got to be able to put a lot up front, even if you lose in the short term. It's like we're talking about, we're losing right now as far as money with gas, but we know that we have that long-term vision that it's going to pay tenfold in the future. So like if we're spending, you know, $400 a month in gas right now, that $400 a month may be adding up to 100 G's in the future. Because you know, for all the stuff that we're learning right now, the contacts we're making right now. I mean, getting better in the gym right now for our content and branding for our personal brands. I mean, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want to say this quote real quick that I got from Gary Vee. I put up on Twitter yesterday. He said, long-term thinking requires you look at all options, even the ones that take a little time to pay off. And I mean, I love that quote. I'm listening to his audiobook right now called The Thank You Economy. His stuff's great. If you guys don't listen to it, I truly recommend it. I think he's only got 3 audiobooks out right now, and I'm finishing my last one. The Ask Gary Vee book's a huge one too. I think it's like 12 hours, but it's awesome. But I think the biggest thing is, and we're kind of referring to entrepreneurs here, or at least I am. you have to have that long-term vision. These entrepreneurs have to be looking long-term, being able to lose in the short term to win in the long term, or else you're never going to win. Because if you don't put things up front, money, time, whatever it may be, whatever that variable is, you won't reap the benefits of it in the long run, and then that ends up leading to regret.
Yeah, we don't like regret.
I don't like regret.
So here's one last thing too, in terms of investing in yourself. Even maybe you're not an entrepreneur, maybe you are just working normal job, whatever it may be. You don't have the money, right? I don't have the money I would be in shape, I would weigh less and be healthier, but I don't have the money to pay for the healthy food, because it is expensive, right? You can go to McDonald's and buy, this garbage food for $1, but if you want to eat a salad, it's like 3 times the price. I get it. That's true. There are smarter ways to go about eating healthy. But before you sit there and tell me, A, that you don't have time to go to the gym, B, that you don't have the money to eat healthy, take a step back and think about what you did the past week. Did you buy a pack of cigarettes? Did you go out Friday night and drink beer? Did you, catch up on Game of Thrones, right? So there is time and there is money, but you just have to make it a priority, of what you spend it on, what you spend your time on, what you spend your money on. And when you spend your time and your money on yourself and your health and your knowledge, that's when you make a true investment in yourself. And, when you can only help others once you've helped yourself. So, whether you're a parent taking care of your children, whether you're a parent taking care of your parents, or, a teacher taking care of your students, you have to be in the right frame of mind mentally and physically to be able to do that. And you can only do that if you invest in yourself. And if you're not doing it, you are killing yourself, and you need to figure out a way, because I promise you it is possible for everybody.
Yeah, that's a great point, dude. I think, running off what you said real quick, I also think it's important to kind of, and you talked about it, I just want to kind of highlight it for the listeners, is investing in yourself doesn't have to be adding things or, putting something into something like money or time. It can also be taking things away. You know what I mean? So like I took away my Xbox, I took away going out, I took away maybe going to Chipotle that extra time that week, because I knew I needed that money for something else, or I needed that time for something else. You know what I mean? So it's not just always putting things into something, but it can also be taking things away to set yourself up for those other things.
Right.
If that makes sense. So.
Cool, man. So I think I think it was pretty cool. I'm pumped. I really enjoyed that talk. I don't know where we're at in time, but I think it's probably about time for us to get the heck out of here and let these people go. Do you have any last thoughts about the topic? You got any discussion tips for us? What do you got for me?
Yeah, man. I think we hit the topics pretty well. I actually got some other things written down, but like you said, I think we're good on time. I think we kept a little bit shorter than last week. So, my sports med tip for today is, it's pretty simple, because and it's pretty easy to talk about, because I hear this every day in the high school setting, and even on social, because you see it everywhere. And I got to post my second article on my website. Because I posted the first one kind of introducing people to it. But between ice and injury management, ice is the most overused method of injury treatment, and it's the most ineffective thing. I know I'll probably raise a lot of eyebrows with saying that, but literally, like ice does not reduce swelling. It does not do anything to swelling. And I know that sounds really weird, because I think that's what a lot of people use it for.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of time that we use it, I mean, you see guys walking around campus with ice over their hoodies, ice over their t-shirts, ice over their shorts or sweatpants. If ice is going to do what it's supposed to do, first of all, in theory, what research says, or what certain people say, it's got to make that tissue area cold enough for it to have those effects, those cryotherapy effects. But a lot of things are showing that it doesn't even do that, even when it gets cold enough. So that's the first thing. Ice does not reduce swelling. That's the biggest thing. What it does do is it increases, it slows the healing process down.
Really?
Yes. So when we have an injury, I'm just going to use a lateral ankle sprain, for example. Somebody is running over second base, they roll their ankle, they come out. All those swelling agents and those inflammation agents, that's our body's natural response to healing, to an injury, because the body's doing what it's supposed to do, but all those agents are coming that cause swelling. And I'm just to simplify this, they're all, let's say they're water-like substances, which they are. Because if you guys have ever felt swelling, I do a lot of like milking massage for swelling sometimes. You can push it around. It's pretty mobile. You can press down on it. You can move it up and down, move it around. When you put that ice on it, and you're trying to reduce that swelling, and you guys can't see this, but I'm using air quotes, you cause that water-like substance to turn into a syrup or molasses-like substance. And it slows everything down. So those nutrients that are going to the area to try to heal the area, to remove that waste, and whatever tendons, ligaments, tissue that it's surrounding, it's actually just slowing everything down. And that causes our athletes to be on the sideline longer. It causes their joints and tendons to lose flexibility, lose mobility. And then after all that happens, then you gotta address all those issues in the rehab process, which takes another 3, 4, 5 days on top of whatever else you had to do, and that puts your athlete out a week longer than they're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my little rant for today.
I learned a lot there, that's for sure.
Well, that's one of
most people know about.
Yeah, that's one of my big topics in those workshops I do with the Ohio coaches, and I get questions on it all the time. Like, I'm not saying not to use ice, but I'm just trying to make people aware of what it does. Like, it's great for pain. It's great for pain management. It can numb areas very well, but I think people get that. I think people get that mixed up with thinking it's going to reduce the swelling, because it doesn't.
Okay. So maybe acutely, like at the scene or at the site of the injury, when it first happened, yes, but it's not something like you need to go home and be icing 20 on, 20 off or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly. Cool. Like, just real quick, I know I want to keep this short, but like, for example, before I came to the podcast today, we had a varsity softball game, 1 extra innings. It was a super long game. It was a good game. It was a little bit cold. One of our softball players was getting ready to round second, and she fell to the ground. She said she felt her hamstring pop. So I'm hoping, because I didn't get the eval today because she was in so much pain. But after we go to eval tomorrow, I'm hopefully it's not a full tear. But I put ice on the back part of her thigh just so she could have that numbing agent to help her feel better, because she was in so much pain. But even putting that on her, I knew that it was not going to do anything for the swelling.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So.
Cool.
Cool. What's Cory's quote of the day?
Cory's quote of the day is a little bit inspired by what we talked about today, a little bit inspired about what we talked about last week. I had a couple of people hit me up and said, hey, I liked what you guys talked about, being a little bit more human, not being these robot machines that are, 110% all the time. You got these down days, right? You got these days where you just need to check out, whatever, restart, reset. So the quote I have for you today was at the beginning of the chapter I was reading from John Maxwell's book, 15 Laws of Growth, which is essentially my own life manual. And the quote reads, "Only a mediocre person is always at his best." So I'm telling you this to let you know that if you're having a bad day, if you have a bad day at the gym, if you miss a day, if you have a bad meal, whatever it may be, if you have a bad day, that means you're doing it right, okay? If you're going through life and you're never having a bad day, or you're never failing, or you're never coming, in terms with struggles, then that means you're half-assing everything, right? So, it's okay to have those bad days, but what I want to say is that you need to recognize that this is just a tiny, minor setback, and then when you come back tomorrow, you're going to kick its ass, right? You're not going to, keep sitting on the bench for 2 years thinking, like, why aren't I playing, right? You're going to recognize it right away, and then you're going to go get that shit. So, it's okay to have a bad day. It happens to everybody. It's not something that always gets talked about online, on Instagram. It's not the most glamorous thing, and it doesn't sell well, right? Let's be real. Struggles, adversity doesn't sell well, but it's fucking real, okay? And that's what we're here to do, is we're here to be real. So that's my parting shot for the day.
Awesome, man. That was good. I think that'll bring some good value to people. Because if you're not failing, you're not learning. That's how you learn.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not failing and if you're not struggling, you're not trying hard enough. That's just all there is to it.
Awesome, man.
Cool.
Well, that wrapping it up for us then. I think that was good.
I'm ready to rock. Let's go.
Cool, man. All right. Well, you guys hopefully by now know where to find us on social. Please hit us up. We've had a ton of questions from people. The dialogue we've formed with a lot of people on social has been awesome. Please, if you guys listen to this on iTunes, give us a rating, give us a comment, and let us know what you think of it, because we want to keep improving. I think we're getting a little bit more comfortable with this. Even though you guys heard me stutter for seemed like 5 minutes, but we're having a great time with this. So let us know your feedback. All right.
Yeah, definitely. So iTunes, SoundCloud, this is all new to me, and I never really knew any of the stuff or paid attention to stars and reviews, but I've kind of started to pay more attention to it, obviously, now that it kind of pertains to us a little bit more. So hit a star if you like, not a star, hit 5 stars if you like what you're listening to. If you don't like what you're listening to, you don't have to listen. All right, I'm not going to make you. But leave a review, tell people something that they might be able to take away from it, whether you liked it or why they might like it, because ultimately we're here to get through to people, and we love the contact and interaction we've had with everybody so far, but we need we're here to reach more people, right? So by you doing that, you're helping us out. So share it, like it, tell somebody, text somebody. We'd really appreciate it.
Cool. All right, man. Cory, let's get him out of here, man.
All right, man. It was cool, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Come ready to squat.
Yeah, happy Hump Day, man.
Hump Day, leg day. See you guys. Have a good night.
Right,
Peace.
Peace.
Murder on the beat, so it's not nice.
Yeah. It's all her BB's thing, yeah? Yeah. My side girl got a 5S with the screen crack. Still hit me back right away. Better not never hesitate. Don't come around, think you're getting saved. Trying to show the dogs brighter days. Got a torch trying to light the way. Biting everybody with your side.